Thank you for listening to the Unscripted Dreams Podcast with Joe and Marcus. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to email us at unscripteddreams@gmail.com. If you're interested in listening to exclusive content that includes bonus episodes and our hindsight video series, please join us on Patreon at the Unscripted Dreams Podcast. If you're listening to our podcast on YouTube, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. Thank you.
Let's go.
Hey, as we know, life is full of surprises, both good and bad. The day-to-day journey is full of unforeseen obstacles, and sometimes it's hard to see our way through. Beyond the norm and mundane are where unscripted dreams live. Join us for thought-provoking discussions and interviews to help us navigate through the fog and create our own path. We are the Unscripted Dream Podcast, operating outside the margins to motivate and inspire our audience. So today we actually have a guest with us. And special guest, very special to us. This guy is very closely rooted to Marcus and myself. He's kind of like the bridge between all of our relationships. So what better person to get on there than someone that's very familiar with us? For people that are in the Greek world, this is one of our sayings, or our only, well, these two are my only sayings. So this guy's name is Andarius. I don't know if you want to release your last name, but we call him AT. And he's very well versed as far as educational leadership, to be precise. So we thought it would be great to interview him based on what's going on right now as far as the pandemic. And so we would love to pick his brain, which you will hear in the next few moments here, as far as how he plans on conducting his business or his professionalism, to whatever extent that may be, to express this to vast audience. So maybe it's something for parents to listen to, definitely kids that are in school, and maybe people that are recently out of school that are still in touch with people that are in school. So I hope you enjoy this episode. All right, so I'm gonna let AT open up the floor.
All right, greetings everyone. My name is Andarius Taylor. I appreciate the opportunity to be on this wonderful podcast, Unscripted Dreams. Yes, these are my sons, Joe and Marcus. These are my dudes, and yeah, man, happy to be here. Happy to answer some questions, give some insight on my experiences. How pandemic has impacted specifically my line of work, which is higher education. So yeah, man, it's definitely been something. Of course, we have all been impacted by, but I think that this is definitely one of those topics where we need to just understand how to, stay together, stay positive in our thinking and in our moving forward.
Yeah, and so first off, man, just want to thank you for coming on, man. We definitely appreciate it. You taking time out.
Yes.
So the one thing that I've noticed just with COVID, and since I'm not involved in, higher education as you are, AT, a lot of things I kind of see in passing. I see news stories about the universities having to go, to the online model, all those kind of things. So what, I guess, with everything that's going on with COVID, how have you seen students? How have students been impacted?
Well, I would say it varies, man. But for the most part, everybody has been, definitely on the sour end of it. There's some institutions like the University of Michigan where I am, where they've never had a tradition. They've always had a traditional learning format, right? So it's in the classroom. There's no online anything. And so there's been that shift where, you have folks who, of course, coming to college for the first time. And that's where I feel is the most impacted population, right? The first year, coming to college, because these are folks who they finish high school, 4 years, and they're ready to go off into what they think is 100% independence. But now they're sitting in their bedrooms, or they're sitting at the kitchen table doing work for their respective universities. So So yeah, I would say that, folks have really been taking it, as best as they can, from the students that I've been communicating with and have been still advising. I had one student this summer, she told me flat out, she said, listen, I hate this. This is awful, and this is one of my summer program participants. I have some students, they're still working, now more than they have before, just because, things needs are still present in the household, and they have an obligation and a responsibility, so it's been difficult, man. It's really been difficult for every student that I've had a conversation with, or that I'm in communication with.
Okay, yeah, because I mean that makes a lot of sense, because I mean students have, I mean I know when, at least for me, when I went off to school, like that was it. I planned on leaving and I was coming back. So I think that, a lot of things have changed for students, and this hasn't happened before. So, we're all adjusting to what has occurred. And, I know there's people that they planned on leaving and things are set up with their families where you leave and then other things come into play. And then there's people, like there was probably, I can imagine there's kids that might have just told their parents, like, good riddance, and now they still in the house. They still in the house, like, so, they didn't anticipate that. So I guess also, Joe, if I guess before maybe move on to another question, how, I guess, and there's, I guess on the professional end, is that affected like the administrators and the people that are actually on site, especially as you're mentioning where you're employed, as far as not having anything online and having to transition into really creating a platform for students to learn.
Yeah. So yeah, man, that's definitely been something I've observed as it's definitely a beautiful beast, if you will, right? Because we're not used to this. This hasn't been experienced before by all of mankind. So I've seen, at least from our unit, my specific unit, where the skeleton of the department, right? So like our director and our admin team, it started with them just being in the office, kind of just going over like the absolute essentials of the department. Like, what do we need to, do to absolutely stay moving, to stay active, as we, connect with our students and still serve our students. So it started from there. And then, from, just the months passing by, my knowledge and information has just grown, where, like the registrar's office is, definitely, sending us updates, and we know how they're operating. Like they have to, have all of the students' records now shifted or addressed to where they're not in the office anymore. So, I don't know the intricacies of what that looks like, right? Like, how do you transfer that, from an in-person to a remote environment? But I would say, like, even the course guide, you have all of these courses. And so with instructors, they have been, tasked with giving students 3 options, of mode of instruction. So you have, which I think is pretty cool, as the CDC and like our state guidelines and the university public health services have now been, working together in conjunction to make a health informed, decision for the fall, is the 3 modes of instruction. You can meet in person, or you can meet hybrid, have a hybrid class, or you can meet completely remote. So a lot of, I've seen, basically a complete transformation, honestly, man, from this entire experience, and I'm quite impressed, honestly, because I know for me, like, I'm not as tech savvy. I'm not as interested in technology and as a whole. When it comes to this format, learning, just like yourself, when it was time to go to college, brother, I was going, man. There was no looking back, and I couldn't imagine being some of my students where, if they had an argument or something with they people, and it was like, you know what, I can't wait to get out of here. And now they're sitting up there looking like they're looking, So yeah, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. I got a question for you, as far as, I don't know if you play with statistics or not, but has there been like an uptick as far as people that are perceived to be dropping out? Maybe they haven't enrolled fully or entirely into their classes, or they may have disenrolled or withdrawn from classes because of this. Have you seen those type of stats?
So I haven't seen actual statistics, but from my actual caseloads or the students that I've met with, again, a variety. I've seen a mixed bag. So I have students where they have met an uptick of students who have taken more summer classes. Excuse me, that's what I meant to say. We have students who are, enrolling in summer classes because the fall is now, basically a Jumanji type situation. What you're going
Right.
to get. And I've seen some students, they're going to take the fall off, right? They're going to, they're going to take this time to, get their money up. They're going to take this time to, just work or just, wait till this thing blows over, to feel more comfortable going back to campus. I've had some students who, definitely going to ride this thing till the wheels fall off, so COVID doesn't intimidate them whatsoever, because of what their home situation is like, right? One more thing, I have some students who, I'm working with from their international students, right? So that's another population where, since this is online, I got a young lady in China, so that's a 12-hour difference, and she's, I've been working with her to, get her, finish her undergraduate program, as well as a young lady in China, not China again, but in India. So she informed me that her work day starts at 8 p.m. So she goes to bed at noon. Right. She goes to bed at noon, wakes up at 8 p.m. and then that's when her day gets started to take her classes.
So you're telling me she basically works third shift, but in schooling.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. First year too. This is a first year student.
Motivated. Do what you have to do.
Yeah. She remind me of y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely, man.
All right. So one thing that I'm kind of thinking, I was thinking about as I was getting ready for this is, you can already discuss the incoming students. One question I had is really for the students that graduated, like they kind of, when everything hit, that was the end of this, like it was pushing towards the end of a semester. So I feel like some of these folks in the transition, like were programs delayed for some students with what was going on?
Oh yeah, for sure. As far as their degrees, no, I don't believe that's been delayed. But anything extracurricular wise, of course, like I've had a student who just met with actually this week, who informed me that, or just wanted to go over like their graduation plan, make sure that things were where they needed to be, because she was actually abroad during the pandemic. And she had to come home, and so yeah, like those things definitely have shook students up and have caused a gamble, for them and how they proceed forward, because some classes are only offered in certain terms, too. So that's been something where basically advisors, folks in my capacity, we're on the front lines with students, any type of situation, any issue that they have, they're seeing their advisor, as one of the first people to help navigate through these situations.
Yeah, that's important that you provide that, because I remember we were just talking about this video, Joe and I, just like one of our first videos from the video series we do. I'm talking about needing advisors and stuff in college, and I really needed them. Joe didn't need them because he's Joe, but
Whatever,
I needed those advisors. So I really feel like you fulfill a essential role, because students need it. I needed it. I needed someone just to kind of guide me through my own situation. So I know what you're providing is an essential service for these students, and I'm sure they appreciate it as well.
For sure. I definitely needed one as well, man. I didn't know that this was a thing, brother, until I was in this capacity. I said, what like, where was my advisor?
Yeah.
All right. So basically, with you being a natural born leader, I would say, AT, and having the knack for social interaction, because we know you thrive for that. How will you be able to manage, say if your whole workload or all your students just decide to work remote, say that worst case scenario, everyone has to work from home, right? So how will you get these kids involved, or how would you keep the social interaction up? If you can answer that.
That's a great question, bro. I have an honest answer for you. I have no idea, Joseph. I have no idea. No, that's actually one of the Probably one of the biggest things that I think about, because I think that this is a prime time for me, specifically. So, I'm happy that I'm talking with y'all too, because this is a safe space, man. And not that I'm, super too with myself, with my dreams, right? But kind of, I am, I am pretty possessive, because I don't want, my ideas to be, jacked or, mooshed off of, and all that's good jazz. But yeah, I think that this is a prime opportunity, man. So probably one of the things that I'll do is, kind of pilot, some of the things that I've been thinking about, to keep students entertained, right? To keep them, to find a balance between entertainment and education, right? Like that's where I feel students can really, engage in their learning, right? When they see somebody in a professional capacity, somebody that they trust and know, and who they have a relationship with at the institutional level, I feel like that's how programming is successful. Now, of course, this is an unprecedented time, so there's no way to kind of measure what would work and what would not. But I think that
Right.
confidence is definitely growing, in the sense of, hey, I have nothing to lose. This is what we have, and we also don't know how long that we're going to have this for, this time and this opportunity. So that's how I look at this. Is it's just a prime opportunity to really, brainstorm, put some ideas out there, be vulnerable even. And, of course, utilize, your relationships with other folks, and with other networks. So yeah, that's how I see students being engaged, man, really being authentic. I've never worn a t-shirt in the office, right? But during COVID, I don't think any of my students see me in a collared shirt. Like that's a real thing, where I'm like, yo, I have to be my authentic self. I have to be present, emotionally and intrinsically, so that I can really be, the best professional person, father, husband, all of those roles, while I'm in this one isolated place. So I hope that answered your question, at least in an initial way. But yeah, it's definitely something to build from.
No, your answer is very genuine, and that's what I appreciate bringing you on this platform, because everything you speak comes from the heart. So that's why I appreciate you for what you say. But on a lighter note, I can't even remember the last time I wore a suit. I can't remember the time I had a tie. Like, I can't remember any of that. So this might be a groundbreaking change for the whole professional attire.
I would agree, brother. I would agree.
Yeah. So, and there, since you bring up working from home and that whole transition and whatnot, like, how has that transition been for you? With, I mean, you have a family, so how's the whole process been for you?
I tried to keep in my laugh, brother. I'm trying to contain myself.
Nah, man, let it out. We know you probably do 5 things at the same time.
Brother, listen. I'm gonna just tell y'all I'm gonna tell you the straight, brother, the straight up version, brother. It's nasty. Oh, it's nasty. It's brutal. It's disgusting. Those are real words. Okay, I'm gonna tell you how. I'm gonna tell you why. Marcus, Joseph. It's my Unscripted Dreams, right? This is where it gets real sensitive for me, right? I get real open, because my kids, they don't care, brother. They're 2 and 3. As y'all know, they're very, very active, and they're very intelligent too, right? So Makai, my oldest son, he takes full advantage of every opportunity that he sees my wife and I on the phone, on the computer, doing something, and they don't care, So they, I've experienced, honestly, man, probably everything so far that one can think of. Of course, the screams and yelling in the background when you're on a call in a supposed meeting. I've experienced broken glass. My youngest son, he creeping in the refrigerator like Garfield, the cat. He breaking stuff. Plants being knocked over. They throwing balls and hitting me in the face, and changing diapers, doing voicemails. It's crazy. It really is crazy. I have a student literally who have me on their voicemail. I'm trying to leave a decent message, right? And I'm wiping a butt. Okay, I'm wiping a butt during this messaging, right when I'm about to leave or hang up. My son says, "Daddy, can you wipe me?" and I hung up right after that. It was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing, bro. I just like, and this was early. This was early COVID too. So, I only have to just stay close to Jesus, bro. That's all I can say. I just have to thank God for Jesus during this time. Keep myself sane.
Yeah, make sure you make some time for yourself there, if you can.
Man, the joys, man. Joys of parenthood.
I count it all joy, right?
Yeah, but I guess the next thing I know, it's tough. I mean, you and Joe, you guys both are working from home, but I'm the one that's out dealing with folks. But it's weird to see how it impacts people who don't get out or aren't able to get out as much versus me, who I go out. By the time I'm done working, like, I don't really want to interact with people like that because I'm around people all day. So it's been interesting to see what has kind of happened to people who have been isolated, especially extroverts who thrive on that social energy. But
Definitely, I've seen one too many people at the grocery store that are like overly excited, all in your face, and you're just like, dude, do you realize what's going on right now? Yeah, I get it. Like, I see that on a daily occurrence as far as if I go out and run my errands.
And there's, I guess, and Joe, I guess you as well. Just from everything that's transpired over these past few months, what are, if any positive takeaways you all have from everything that's transpired this year?
For sure, man. I would say for me, there's been a number of them. Honestly, I feel like it's ongoing, right? It's a regular process of self-awareness. Me as a spiritual being, man, I really want to have my relationship with God be strengthened during this time and really be real in that process, right? So I feel like this has been, more than any other time before. And of course, because this is the present moment, I feel like there's ample opportunity, more than I've ever been able to see before. Ample opportunity, man, to really get up and discipline myself, right? There's nowhere to go. There's no place to go, right? Essentially, so it should look easy or should feel easy. At least that's what I think in my mind, but it's not. So I think that this is a great opportunity for me to, or that I've been experiencing thus far. Is just really trying to be disciplined, man, spiritually, along with that physically as well. So a workout regimen, it's varied over over the months, but I would say that this is definitely something to really look at in a positive way. This is get up, do 10 crunches or something, whatever that looks like for anybody. Definitely do something physically active. Reading. This is definitely a generation and an era of social media, quick news, quick messages, things like that. But getting into a textbook, man, I think this is a classic way of learning, especially as a Black person of color. Like, I feel like we have a special kind of interest in literature and reading, and actually having, hard copy reading material, because of, history reasons. Don't quote me on that or anything, but that's just my honest feeling. That's just my thought and feeling about it. And I would say another thing, man, definitely appreciating people, man. This is definitely a moment where I can say, I've never really been able to, I've never experienced this before, this kind of delay in communicating with folks, so on a car ride home, right? I'll call you, one of y'all, because hey, that's on my to-do list. It's a consistent work day away from home, and then boom, I can go make a call, make 2-3 calls on my way home. That has not been the case. I've actually experienced, great delays in my communication with people, which is interesting. So I would say definitely staying in touch with folks who you need and want to stay in touch with, who make you whole, who make you you, and who add to your life. That's definitely a positive takeaway. And writing letters too. Like, I write my grandmother letters. I still have my paternal grandmother around. So, really appreciating people, because as we know, folks have not made it, to this point, unfortunately. So this is a real situation that we're facing. And I think any positive moment for anybody, definitely prioritize that in your own life, whatever that looks like.
Oh, those are great, man. Great tips. Joe?
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, let me take that from you as well. As far as appreciation, this is definitely giving me a whole different outlook as far as appreciating things. Even though I personally believe that there is no norm, so we have to establish a new social norm. I'm totally fine with that. I was getting bored with the old world anyways, but but
Sam's character.
that's funny. But appreciation, man. I'm humbled already, but it humbled me even more, and I'm very appreciative of that. Just because there's some things that I did not have any reflection or had time to really have any self reflection on, and this has definitely forced me to sit literally in my room by myself for hours on end to kind of process all the things that were going on before the world slowed down. Also, I would like to say that this has also saved me from self-destruction. Not only from a financial standpoint, it's not like I blow money, but still, it made me realize how much I was paying for insignificant things. So I definitely appreciate the fact that it's added more value to my pockets. I'm sure everybody could appreciate that. Hopefully nobody, is ordering off of Amazon or anything all day, every day. You got to stop that. But, but that can definitely get you. I think the last thing would more so correlate around testing my patience. I like to perceive myself as someone being very patient, but this has given me a whole newfound greatness as far as realizing how much further I need to go as far as patience, whether that's my faith, whether that's with my career, relationships with people, you name it. So I really appreciate that. And it's definitely forced me to pick up a book and actually start reading again and actually forwardly thinking about what I want to do. It's almost like I got my childhood back. So that's what I appreciate about this the most.
That's great, man. Glad to hear that. Those positive things you guys are speaking of.
May I have a quick insert, if I may, with what Joe said?
Sure.
I think that, brother, if you want to test your patience, if you want your patience to be tested, listen, I can send you two little people, okay, in any method, okay? I can send them your way, brother. I can drop them off personally. I can put them on a bus.
Hey man, send them on down. They're gonna get some good treatment down here, so send them on through, man.
These jokers, man. I mean, they are brutal, bro. No, I like that too, man, about the patience piece. I would definitely echo that.
Well, I have a question for both of you guys. I don't care who answers in what order, but if the shoes, okay, what the question I want to ask is, how would you handle this pandemic if this was happening to you? It is happening to us, but happening to us from a standpoint where we're back in our, so to speak, glory days in college. Like, how would you handle this situation if this happened to us? I know what I would do, but I just want to know how you guys would handle it.
Well, I'm interested to know what you would do first.
I already knew.
He asked the question. So,
Yeah, right.
all right. So for one, Joe, I need you to put some parameters on there. I need to know how and what. Remember, I was in school for a long time, so I need to know how old am I? Like, am I 18 or am I 24?
At an irresponsible age. Kind of. So I'm thinking between 18 and 21.
18, 21. I'll probably be making bad decisions. Probably, I'm probably reaching out. I'm probably talking to my brother and my dad, really trying to figure things out. I'm probably looking at Andarius at the time, trying to figure out what he's doing, because we was always stuck in something together anyway. Most of the time, those are other stories for other days. But we probably try to figure out what's the best course of action. But I would definitely be under heavy advisement in whatever I was doing, because I feel like just knowing who I was back then and knowing what you know now versus what you didn't know back then. And sometimes when you're that young, you think you know a lot, but you really don't too. So,
Yep.
No, man, I would be under, like I said, I'd be under heavy advisement, and I'd be trying to figure out what AT was going to do probably. And then we'd probably be trying to make a plan together, because I think, Joe, I didn't meet you till I was 2021. So
Right.
I couldn't look to you for help either, man, at that point, because we didn't.
I would have been
know
no
you.
good anyways.
so, but no, I think that's probably the best way I can answer that.
Man, listen, I would say so echoing Marcus, I would definitely lean on him because we were on campus, man, together when there weren't many folks on campus, right? So you got to think, man, if this was a holiday, where folks have to go home for Thanksgiving, me, Marcus, and probably 6 other people, we the only ones on campus. But what I can tell you this much, I definitely wouldn't be at home. Okay, COVID wouldn't scare me to go back to my place of residence in Saginaw, and not because it just wouldn't have been a wise thing to maybe stack my money up, right? Having free living home versus making my own way in college. I would rather choose that, just because of my own personal situation. But definitely trying to stack bread, trying to make sure that I stay on track to getting my degree. I think we, like Marcus, definitely, didn't anticipate being in college as long as I did. But I came there to get a degree, to finish, what I started. So I definitely can see myself, in situations probably that I, wouldn't want to be in when I think about it today, right? But I said ultimately, just trying to, be as wise as possible, have some sort of a social survival kit. Don't take that. Actually, you can't take that, the social survival kit. But I would say too, man, just trying to exercise. I think that this is that, regardless of we 18, 21, donuts are always going to do what they do to people's bodies if you don't work out. So the snacks, I can see me snack sneaking and trying to stay healthy.
That's all I have for you guys. And Darius and Joe, do you guys have anything else?
Nah, man, other than appreciate AT actually coming on this platform and speaking his truth. And I think it's great to have his perspective on things, just to let people know that they're going with the flow just as much as everyone else is, to some extent anyways. But the last thing I really want to say, and I think is very important for people to understand and keep in mind, because this is the perfect time that Unscripted Dreams, our name of our podcast, actually applies to what's going on. So I just want to mention this quote that I found from a buddy, my buddy Mo. So he stated that undreamt dreams come true too. Just because the path changes doesn't mean it's any less important. Make sure you pivot and prosper. So basically what I got from that is no matter what, a lot of dreams can be made on the fly. And that's kind of what this platform stands for. Like, we all don't have it. Like, we don't know everything. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. All we can do is make assumptions and predictions, really. So with that being said, the sky's the limit. Anything can happen to you. You could wake up and be a millionaire for all we know. Anything can happen. So with you having that mindset, you can move mountains for yourself. So make sure that you have that uplifting mindset instead of this negative mindset that I see a lot of people have these days. It's time to get rid of that and always think positive and be on the up and up. That's all I gotta say.
That's great. I have no words, man. I think you ended that out well, Joe.
Very profound, brother.
For a change.
So if you're good, AT, are you good? Are y'all set? Are you taking off?
Yeah, man. I just appreciate you all. This has been a great conversation, a great time, and of course, this is wonderful. Looking forward to future podcasts that you all have, and staying tuned in, man. I'm a believer from day one. So, Unscripted Dreams, man, is definitely a win. So I'm glad to see your brothers prosper, and glad to be a part.
Appreciate it. Well, as always, take care and be safe.
Later.
Yamstone.